Hi everyone, Andrew from Kensington Wine Market here to tell you about our 2002 Gordon MacPhail Caol Ila cask. This is actually our second Gordon MacPhail 2002 Caol Ila cask. We did one actually about a decade ago, which is quite cool. It's our fifth Gordon MacPhail Caol Ila over the years. It's the first one in a long time. We did a bunch of them that were between roughly, I want to say 10, 11, and 15 years of age. So this one is without question the oldest. And it's actually the oldest Caol Ila we've bottled full stop at 22 years of age. Kind of cool. We don't get to see a lot of older Caol Ila, except from the likes of independent bottlers like Gordon MacPhail. We used to see more of it. It's not something that there's been a lot of in the market in recent years. And a big part of that is the demand for whiskey booming throughout the early 2000s into the 2010s. Caol Ila stopped selling and trading to a lot of companies, made it harder for them to get. So there's just not a lot of mature Caol Ila kicking around out there these days. And sadly, we don't even see official bottlings. We used to see Caol Ila 25-year-old. There used to be a 30-year-old Caol Ila in the market. And those things have become rarer than hen's teeth, at least in Canada. Fortunately, Gordon MacPhail's got us covered. We seem to get a number of bottlings of Caol Ila a year. There's another really beautiful 1998 cask that's in the market right now. I absolutely love it. This is no slouch though, so we'll get into it in a moment. Caol Ila is Isla's largest distillery, produces about 6.5 million liters a year, which is a lot. Little known fact about it though is that almost all of the production is shipped off island. So it's not matured on the island. There's just not the space for it. There's a small number of casks that are kept there, but the vast majority of it, and this is true of a lot of distilleries, the vast majority of that whiskey is put into cask and matured in central Scotland in these huge warehouse complexes in what they call the Central Belt in Scotland. So you know, people talk a lot about those coastal notes in Caol Ila. It must be soaking in all that Isla air over time, and the reality is it's not, because it's not there. It's somewhere near, I don't know, Glenrothes in Scotland, and not the Glenrothes you're thinking of, but rather the town. DCL, one of the forebears of what would become Diageo, acquired Caol Ila in 1927. It's been really the linchpin of their Johnnie Walker Black Label now for almost as long as that brand has been around. It's one of the reasons why Johnnie Walker Black Label is such a great whiskey, because Caol Ila is such a phenomenal whiskey. As much as it's made in a factory scale distillery, you know, it's not matured on the island, much as, you know, Talisker's not really matured on the island except for a tiny amount of it. Despite that, all these things, the short fermentations, has all these reasons for whiskey snobs like myself to not get excited about it. But the whiskey, in the words of the whiskey writer Dave Broom, I think he was the first to say that it's the most consistently good whiskey in Scotland. There's just something about it. It seems hard to screw it up. The only way to ruin a Caol Ila is to just put it in like a tainted, dreadful cask. Short of that, whether it's young and spirity, or even in its teens in a very inactive cask, it still seems to have lots of character. Fortunately, on the cask side of things, we've got a first fill ex-Bourbon barrel here. This is Gordon MacPhail, so we're talking the best wood policy in the industry. Interestingly, and I think there are a few parallels here, our Ben Romick 2002, which is in a separate video, also first fill ex-Bourbon, also 2002. Might there be a few similarities there in the spirit? That might be the subject of a future video. We'll see. But let's get our noses into this. 2002 vintage, 55.2%, first fill ex-Bourbon barrel, cask number 8384, bottled exclusively for your friends at Kensington Wine Market. 177 total bottles. And right off the bat, there's some nice peanutty tones to it. Makes me wonder, you know, could this be Jim Beam? They are the biggest producer of bourbon in the States, so it would stand to reason there's a good chance that these casks could have come from there. But regardless, there's this nice creamy, nutty, toasty note right off the bat on the nose. As it gets in there a little bit, it gets a bit tarrier, a little fattier. You know, I love talking about the food notes that you get often in Caol Ila, and you often get either bacon notes or scallop notes, or if you're really lucky, sometimes you get the bacon wrapped scallop. And you can see a little bit of that here. You can see that nice fleshy scallop note, maybe like sauteed in butter, a little bit of lemon on it. Often get a nice lemon note from Caol Ila. But also the fattiness of the bacon, that rich, salty English, British bacon, Scottish bacon. There's some nice fruits there too. They're coming along with some nice bakery tones like brioche rolls, or like even a glazed croissant. The fruits are starting off more in that white fruit, apples and pears, citrus realm. Hoping that we're going to get a bit tropical here, but we'll see. For now, it's mostly those stone and citrus, those orchard fruits. Let's give it a little taste, shall we? Sledge. Oh man, quite different from the Benromic. This is classic Caol Ila. It's tarry, it's oily, it's a little medicinal but not too much. There's some nice licorice tones in there, a bit of like coal dust. I want to dive back in because I think the peat is the first thing I'm getting there. Surprisingly, still a little bit of malt. At 22 years of age, this has still got a little bit of a malty note to it. Oh man, nice candied nuts now. The fruit's starting to creep in, but it's coming with a surge of vanilla, salted caramel, like heavily salted caramel. The scallop notes are there, the bacon notes are there, the butter, the citrus. The palate has this nice, lush, sweet, clotted cream note to it. It's starting to get a little more tropical the more you sit into this. Some nice notes of like barbecued pineapple slices. It's also got this like bananas foster, like this cooked banana note in it. The citrus fruits are there, they're very bright. Now, the interesting thing here is like the wood is quite different. So despite the fact that Gordon MacPhail, Benromic, same parent company, same year, you think maybe there's a chance similar cask. They come across quite different. But what's lovely about this first fill bourbon cask is it's still allowing that spirit character to come through. The Caol Ila is restrained, it's mellowed a little bit, but it's still got some nice grip to it. The smoke is really prominent, the salty tones are really prominent, and the seafoody notes are there too. Builds into these nice spice tones towards the finish. You know, it's fun to think about whiskeys like this because this is not that dissimilar from a lot of young Port Ellens that we would see in the mid 2000s and the late 2000s, back when you could still get a low 20 something Port Ellen at a fair price, sometimes a shockingly fair price, $150, $180. Those days are gone, as we all know. One final sip there to take us towards the finish. It's nice and lush, more tropical tones now, nice decadent oak. It's coating, it's creamy. Surprisingly malty again. That little bit of malt is creeping back in there. Again, a little surprising given this is 22 years of age and in a first fill cask. Nice little note to see there. It's fresh, fruity, smoky. You know, I know a lot of people when they're talking peated whiskeys, sometimes they're frustrated. Like, let's say you love Young Ardbeg. I think the reason you like Young Ardbeg is because it's just big brush and smoky. And they've not always been impressed when they get to try like Ardbeg 19, the Trayvon, or even the 17-year-old, because it's not as peaty as they want. And the thing about peated whiskeys is that peat mellows and fades over time. What's cool about this release is that it has mellowed and faded a bit. but it's actually held up quite well. It's a very firm peat presence for a whiskey in its early 20s, and it's meeting that with these nice, lush, creamy vanilla tones and a mix of soft and starting to go slightly tropical fruits as well too. So if you missed out on your chance to try Port Ellen way back when it was young and relatively inexpensive, this could be your chance. Same malt spec as Port Ellen, different distillery. And a lovely whiskey. Grateful to have it. Big thank you to our friends at Gordon MacPhail and Authentic Wine and Spirits for making it happen. This is available exclusively from your friends at Kensington Wine Market for $3.50 a bottle while they last. There was only 177 bottles, and there's probably just around 100 of those left in 2 months' time. So it won't be here forever. Slange.